Hi there, this is Kim Jansen. Today we're going to do a tapping video on having to be perfect, or it has to be perfect, or I think it should be perfect. I expect everyone to think I'm perfect. So all of those perfection themes we actually want to get rid of, because there is no such thing as perfection. Perfection is hiding a weakness inside of you which you believe is going to be stopping you from being perfect. So if you look into why you think you need to be perfect, it's actually saying that possibly you don't think you're good enough, or that it's going to maybe show people that they can't see your weaknesses and it's hiding your weaknesses. But when we actually try and do things perfectly, or we try and make it perfect, there's no measure for perfection. So you can't measure it. And so you'll never know when you've got it perfect, and you'll actually never get it perfect because you don't know what that is. So when you're doing something and trying to get that done perfectly, what you can do is change your measurement and change the rule around it. And instead of trying to make it perfect, give it a measurement that you can measure it around. So give it a rule, give it a measurement, and say, okay, when I've got it to this level, that's when I know it's good, or I'm happy with it. But just to tap out any kind of perfection that we have, what I want you to work out and just to write down in your books is, it has to be perfect. So work out which one is more your thing. So it has to be perfect, I should be perfect, I think others think I should be perfect, or I need to look perfect. Any of those, write down what is the most important thing for you, and let's start clearing it. So on the top here, I'll just say I have to be perfect. Okay, so I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. Or it has to be perfect. 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 Or I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. We'll go back to it. It has to be perfect. 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 Now let's just release and let that go. I 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 release and let that go. Now take 2 deep breaths, and you're going to blow out that perfection. You ready? And then blow it all out. Oh, I feel better already. One more. And blow that perfection out. Get rid of it. Okay, let's just do this one more time. It has to be perfect. 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 Now let's release it. I release and let that go. 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 Take 2 deep breaths and blow that perfection out. Okay, so if you're feeling like you still have a little bit in there, you can keep doing this video again. Otherwise, say goodbye to perfection and hello to acceptance. There's no such thing as perfect. No one expects you to be perfect. So don't worry, because we all love you. And I'm going to give you some big kisses now, because I love you too. Take care. Bye.